Thanks very much, Travis.
Hi
David.
Sam, congratulations on making the final. That was quite a show for you. We saw you on camera a couple of times, completely outdoing those Jund Menace, but unfortunately the robots were a bit too much in the final, and unfortunately you did come up short there.
Yeah.
How's your day been?
Yeah, it's okay. Obviously, it'd be better if I'd won, but Affinity is really hard. You know, I was told you had the sideboards on on screen, and you can see there's 4 Hercules recall on the sideboard just because they are absolutely necessary. The game 1 is horrific, and game 2 is also horrific if I don't see a recall. And as you saw in that game, I had won that game and it still wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It's effectively a time walk. It gives me an extra turn. It's still not enough. It happens. It's Magic. James is definitely a worthy winner. A really good guy. I actually started playing Modern because he lent me a Merfolk deck about 2.5 months ago.
So yeah, I think Travis mentioned that you two are good friends, and to meet in the final. Well, bit of a curse because it's a robot deck, but it's losing.
Play a pleasant guy. That's all you can ask for. And I guess from my perspective, like I said, I've not been playing this game very long. I was over the moon to top 8 and to make the finals, like unreal. Obviously, I'd have liked the trophy and the Modern Masters 1 booster box, but life goes on.
So what made you choose Merfolk?
So as I said, I picked up the deck about sort of 2.5, 3 months ago when I played against I played here actually for the first time. First Magic tournament I went to, I borrowed James's Merfolk deck, and sort of fell in love. Really, it's just what's life if you can't play mindless aggro decks and kill people?
Fair enough. Did you feel it was also quite a good time to play Merfolk? A good choice? For
it always is. At these sort of smaller events anyway. Just in terms of because the sort of the standard is obviously high, but in terms of people being prepared for weirdo strategies, like Merfolk is not a popular deck. It's if you ask me, it's a tier 1 deck. Like I genuinely believe that.
I think you were the only Merfolk player in the room.
I was the only Merfolk player for the day, so people don't bother preparing for it and just hope they won't run into it. And then, unfortunately for the people that did run into me, then that happened.
So what was your record in the Swiss?
It was 4-1-1. I took a loss to Zoo round 4. It was quite funny actually. I lost to my own stupidity in some way. I had a lot of stuff on board, 25 Master of Waves tokens, and he had a Worship, which is an enchantment that says if any damage that would reduce your life total to 0 reduces it to 1 instead.
Was this against Tom, who also top 8'd
I believe event? So, yeah. And he only had 1 creature on board at the time. You have to have a creature for this enchantment to work. Yeah. So at the time I said, I have Regery on board, I can draw into a Harbinger, tap his creature, bounce it, and swing for game. And he can never attack, because I have 25 3/2 Master of Waves tokens. Eventually, he just went, guy, and I'm like, okay, I just don't have enough answers to remove all these things. So I conceded. It was pointed out to me afterwards that actually Vapor Snag is not damage, which as you see is 1 in the main and 2 in the sideboard. It's loss of life. It's just lose a life, so at any point I can just wait, and as soon as I draw a Vapor Snag, I win. And then I won 2-0. As it was, I completely overlooked that. I sort of narrowly in my head said, Vapor Snag bounces a creature.
Yeah.
So that happened, and I lost game 3. You played really well. Other than that, good run in the Swiss, and then obviously you saw me in the top 8 and the top 4.
Yeah, you certainly rolled over those Jund decks.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. I think the matchup is overall slightly in Jund's favour. Like sort of 55-45, 60-40 type thing.
Is that because you're worried about the sheer amount of removal they have backed up by a potentially large target?
Yeah, essentially, it's more the early hand disruption.
Okay.
If I get some steam going, and say Lord some guys, then suddenly all my guys are 4/4s, and Bolt doesn't touch them. Or if I draw a Kyra, that's fine, but they can rip my hand out before I can do any of that, if they draw their Inquisitions and their Thoughtseizes and things like that. So it's a bit tricky. Obviously, Master of Waves is essentially God against them, because the only piece of removal they have that hits it is Maelstrom Pulse. And as you saw in the top 4, where I drew multiple copies of Master of Waves, I can play some and apply loads of pressure and still have 1 left in hand in case of the Maelstrom Pulse.
Because they all pump each other's elementals.
Exactly. And they all pump Mutavault as well, which is something people miss. People say, oh Lord, that pumps a Mutavault to Merfolk.
Attack with a 5/3 Mutavault.
My 5/5, yeah. It's oh no, sorry, it's 5/3. Sorry. But essentially, things that can happen, like I won a game earlier because someone misdid their combat math because they forgot that Master of Waves pumps Mutavault as well. That was against Living End. But yeah, overall, really good day, really well organised tournament. Very happy.
Well, you've done really, really well for yourself. So even though it's harsh to lose in the finals, I think you've done great. You've put on a great performance, certainly on camera and all the way through the Swiss. So best of luck going forward. Hope you continue to play lots of Modern, and maybe
Thanks
better
very
luck
much.
next time.
Yeah, apart from missing the Ether Vial trigger, you mean, in the top 4.
Could have. You won anyway, though.
Well, yeah, but that's not the
Best
point.
of luck.
Thanks
Take
very
care.
much, Chris. Have a good night.
All right.